I low key forgot how hyped the last episode of Loki was.
You low key forgot?
I low key forgot how the last episode of Loki was.
Yikes!
Put me on a Drake album.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm one of the boys.
The dogs.
The dogs. I'm one of the dogs. My bad.
You just proved you're not one. Of
Damn. Hey yo, all of the boys is nuts.
Yes. But yes, no. Loki ended pretty hype, like you said. But
last season, the preview really kind of reminded me, like, hey yo, no, this shit kind of was lit at the end of last season. The way it ended off,
and it didn't start off that bad. It kind of got me right back into it, where it was like, oh shit,
this is where we at. Yeah, honestly, I feel like the majors news, the trial, everything has done so much to take whatever residual excitement was around that show. And Disney honestly could have been so much better off to put a cocoon around that shit than letting it out to dry and letting all the Jonathan Majors news be about this fucking trial.
Yeah.
Because just watching this first episode, it had me at the edge of my seat. It did a lot to raise my anticipation level, which is something that didn't really happen at all from any of these shows outside of WandaVision and Loki, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's been so devoid of any real stakes or really any real, like, even Secret Invasion. They kind of teased like it was something real to be worried about and then immediately made it a fucking MacGuffin, you know? Yeah. Immediately. Oh, yeah. Red herring. And that pissed me off to no end. They better not do that shit here.
Sure.
Better not. But then again, we know that this is kind of loosely connected to the Kang saga that is going to continue on into Secret Wars and everything else. So that's kind of what's keeping me at the edge of my seat, is that this shit actually matters. Now, just imagine if you had just maybe waited before you let the wolves eat your star. If you'd have just waited a couple months for some more information to come out, maybe you could have taken a stronger stance to support him. We're going to stand by Jonathan Majors against this racist attack from the NYPD. Are you telling me that you're willing to fight the government, the statewide government in Florida, over saying gay? Right? You're willing to fight the state of government over saying gay, but you won't publicly support a man that you still have starring in your show to try and keep the press off his back?
Make it make sense.
Who's running the show? And I'm not saying that it's incumbent on them to protect Jonathan Majors through any type of domestic violence, any type of criminal situation. It's not. But for a company that's so willing to enter into political battles, you would think you would do one to save yourself a buck. I just don't even understand what the fuck. Y'all think these people are so fucking smart? Y'all think that they're smarter than everybody and that's why they're rich. You think, oh, they create and they innovate and they know more and they work harder. So that's why they're at where they're at. No,
they're just regular people that make mistakes like you and I.
Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. Let me argue with the governor of Florida over his wacky ass bill that is never going to be federally responded to. So eventually when his regime ends, it'll go away. The first thing a Democratic president or Democratic governor in Florida will do, if ever they get one, is the gay shit. It's gone. It's gone overnight. Or how about you let the political apparatuses within Florida, the ones who are responsible for fighting shit like this, do their work, and you sell movies. But we'll fight this one that'll cost us our protected status in Reedy Creek. It'll cost us all amount of dollars of people turning their backs on us because we're fighting with a because people love DeSantis for some reason.
Sure.
Right? Like, we'll just engage in this. Oh, but the guy who was supposed to be taking us through the next 3 or 4 phases, the hottest name in Hollywood right now, the hottest rising star in Hollywood. No, we're going to let him float into oblivion. And comes to find out, he ain't do it. Oh my God. This shit hurts. That shit hurts.
Yeah. Yep,
When you see people making bad decisions, man, you just got to face palm. It's very cringy. Hello, Rocky.
Yeah, no, that was a huge problem. But regardless, I think episode 1 still went off without a hitch. I don't know that they ever even really planned on having him in episode 1. It didn't really seem like.
Who's that?
Jonathan Majors.
No. And then one thing, the executive already came out. One of the executive producers already came out and said, we didn't cut anything. We didn't cut shit. So, yeah, it didn't seem like he was supposed to be in there. But if they was going to cut anything, it would have been that damn 5-second one shot of his face on that statue. I was like, man, if they was going to cut anything, they would have cut that. Because it came in, bang, Jonathan Majors.
Zoom out, and then you see Loki running through the thing.
Like, he wasn't there, but he was there. He was felt.
He was there in full force.
Voice was there, pictures, all kind of stuff.
In the rooms. And
yeah, so let's get into the particulars of the episode. Hey, can you let us shoot, please? You need to go outside.
Start off with a close-up shot of Jonathan Majors and pan out to Loki running from Mobius and some TVA agents because he's not in his actual time, which we knew from the last episode. But
now, is that happening because of the time? Because the timelines are branching off? Is that why that's happening? Why is it only happening to him?
I would say it's a weird thing to answer because it's only happening to Loki.
Yeah, it's not happening to Sylvie. Obviously, she able to go to McDonald's and try everything on the menu.
And they never explained it.
I'm sorry I hopped all the way to the end, but can I say that I was so fucking excited and surprised that we got a post-credit scene in this show?
Yeah.
Yo, fam, what's the last show that had a post-credit scene? That mattered.
Oh,
But I was like, yo, what the fuck? Because I was wondering, I was like, damn, man, we gonna show Sylvie? And then I was getting ready to turn the shit off, and all of a sudden she popped on the screen. I was like, oh, shit.
But it did show Sylvie during the actual episode.
No, he didn't.
She was in the elevator.
In what elevator?
Right before Loki gets pruned, she was like sitting in the elevator. Like with the doors.
Oh, that was a variant. I don't think that was her.
Oh. I thought that was her.
She wasn't even acting like she really knew him or what he was doing.
That was a variant? Okay.
I think. Now, I guess that could... No, she's a Loki variant. But the reason why I didn't really take nothing from it is because he was bouncing around timelines. So it's no telling... Even if that was her, there's no telling at what point that was her.
Right. It could have been past Sylvie. It could have
been...
Yeah. No, fair enough. But then I guess that's why I thought later on he says we got to go get Sylvie.
I think they're going to go get Sylvie because they know old girl that was in the council.
Sure.
It's crazy how some of this stuff is overlapping. Like Ahsoka and Loki premiering. Like there was a similar council where they were considering things, or there's a big bad coming. It's like Thrawn and Kang are kind of like mirroring each other right now. It's very weird because those scenes were very similar.
Yeah. So Mobius and B-15 in present time are kind of discussing, literally telling everybody what's going on with the TVA. And B-15 kind of seems like really distraught, and like she finally understands like what her life has been at the TVA.
Well, yeah, we all people. We all come from a timeline. It was done from the jump. Like, we're just created here. You're just created here. So let me understand this. All of you are human beings, and you go to these timelines and you see how human beings are created.
Yeah.
And yet y'all just stuck around. There was nobody in the TVA who had a thought of, who's my mom? Who's my dad? Do we all just have one mom and dad? That can't be possible. We're all different races. How the hell? What do you mean we were created here? Are we clones? If we're clones, then what was patient zero? Well, how did you end up getting different race clones? None of that makes sense at all.
Bro, we're just here, and all we
in
do
retrospect,
is work in the TVA.
I know they feel stupid.
All time.
They feel dumb as hell to even believe any of that shit because none of it added up.
Sure. Loki, while B-15 and Mobius are in a war room, Loki is also in a war room, but it's in the past or in the future. No, it's in the past because then he pruned it, and then all of a sudden the images show up. So yes, obviously he's going through this whole what do they call it? Time splitting or time
slipping.
Time slipping, where he's literally going through the past, the future, and every time he shows up somewhere, he does not know where the fuck he is. Which again, they didn't really do a great job, even with Ouroboros later on, explaining what exactly is happening with him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, but I guess that's neither here nor there. The Irish judge, who seems to be, besides the other lady, the only vocal one of this judge's council, is kind of crazy. Decides that she
Fam,
needs
I
to
didn't
find
know
Sylvie.
what happened to homeboy when he was sleeping. I was like, yo, did he stroke out or something? What the fuck is wrong with him? His sleeping position was nuts.
Yeah,
His
it was
mouth
crazy.
was open, his jaw was to the side, his body was slouched. I was like, somebody tap him and make sure he alive.
Actually, it was crazy. Okay, so Loki comes back. Obviously, he prunes the wall, shows everybody that it's Kang behind everything. Loki then tries his best to explain to Mobius what the hell is going on with the timeline, with Kang, why he keeps vanishing. Mobius thinks it's time to go see his best buddy, who he doesn't even really fuck with. He doesn't really know all like that. Ouroboros. He immediately recognized what's going on with Loki as time slipping, and then Loki time slips to the past to see Ouroboros in the past, and so therefore they do this weird thing where basically what happens in the past controls what happens in the future, very obviously. So as he's talking to the Ouroboros in the past, it starts to become memories for the Ouroboros in the future.
It's really weird though. I really hate indulging time travel this much. I much more enjoy alternate realities because it's much easier to keep it straight.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about timelines, the idea that you can't dictate the future, right? That it will end up being the way that it's supposed to be anyways, is kind of done away with here because he's actively, presently feeding the future to you. So in a way, he is destiny. He is the future at that point, what he's doing, which shouldn't be possible. Whatever is supposed to happen should happen no matter what he tells Boros at that point.
In other words, he should already have.
He should have already known. He shouldn't have been sitting up there saying, I don't know. But wait, no, I do know. No. It should have just been, well, actually, yes, I do know. Blah, 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 blah. How did you figure that out? I don't know. Some strange dude came and told me a long time ago. Oh, that's how that should have worked. Right. But I hate getting into the weeds of time travel because now you have to start getting very literal about how the rules work.
For sure. Also turns out that in order to fix his time slipping, he has to prune himself in multiple timelines, which at the point I didn't really understand. Like they made it seem like he would have to go find himself in different timelines and prune himself.
I thought it meant like he had to get to the center of where all of that shit was happening and then prune himself. Like where the so thing where the timelines were converging
in the temporal loom.
Yeah, because isn't that where he popped out of at the end?
Yeah,
that's what.
Oh no, they pruned him and then he came out of the temporal loom. Yeah, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah, the scientific jargon comes to a whole head for me at the temporal loom. I was like, I tried my hardest to understand some of the things that are going on, but then like. You got the whole temporal.
Probably have to watch it again for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so the temporal loom is basically the heart of the TBA, and now it's overloading with all these new timelines. Ouroboros explains what needs to be done, but Loki gets blasted to the future. Ouroboros gets shook and starts to close the blast doors, despite Mobius's cries to give Loki more time, because Mobius has to essentially put this part into the temporal loom to extract. Oh, yeah, it's the extractor to extract Loki out of wherever he was. He's screaming to Ouroboros to give him more time. He doesn't. He closes the doors, but lo and behold, Loki just shows up at the nick of time, pushes Mobius through the doors.
I was about to say Ouroboros cold, boy. He said he's not going to make it. Well, then why you press the button that soon? Shit. He said more time.
Yeah,
should have gave 1,000, 1,000.
No, he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He's not going to make it.
Right.
Do you know that that's the kid from Indiana Jones?
What?
Yes.
Did not know that.
So yeah, he was on Everything Always All at Once, but that's the kid from Indiana Jones.
Did not know that.
And he wasn't in Dial of Destiny. Travesty.
That's crazy.
Travesty.
You found him for Loki, but you didn't.
Travesty.
That's
travesty. Crazy. So, I mean, God damn it. God damn it. You mean he was in the building shooting Loki when he should have been a Dial of Destiny, being the actual sidekick to Indy to send him off, not fucking goddamn Maggie or whatever the hell her name was.
Yeah.
God, somebody tried to tell me that was a good movie over the weekend. I said, what the
Excellent movie.
fuck?
One of the best movies of the year. Give it an Oscar now. Hunter B-15 sees a whole army of TVA hunters seemingly going into war and asks, all of this for Sylvie? The other hunter thinks it's for something else, which... Kang?
Yeah.
Then, like you mentioned before, we get a post-credit scene. We see Sylvie in Broxton, Oklahoma in 1982. She walks into a McDonald's.
That's some good McDonald's, boy. McDonald's in the 80s, they still had crack in the Coke.
That's crazy. She walks into a McDonald's, which would explain all the McDonald's advertising we've been getting. Sylvie wants some vegan options, but it's McDonald's in the 80s. She looks around and sees all the families laughing and smiling, and so she decides to order everything.
Oh, so she about to have a family now, too? So you just gonna end everything, end all of time, and then bounce and go try to live your life. Why you ain't just gonna do that to begin with? Why you couldn't just go get you a burger? You didn't have to kill he who remains.
No, facts.
So, okay, here's also my question, right? Loki was saying a lot of, it was him. He created all of this. Did he who remains create it all, or did Kang? Because when I seen Homeboy on the statue where he arrived, even the faces that were on the wall in the war room, that looked like Kang, not he who remains.
Yep.
So was he who remains just sitting there at the end of time trying to kind of push and prod things to get around Kang? And Kang so if he who remains is at the end of time, Kang probably creates the TVA to fight against the other variant and he who remains. And when they killed him, that opened it up for everybody, I guess, to just free for all on the main timeline.
Yeah.
He was the only thing holding them all back. Okay. I got it now. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. What's all going to start bringing this stuff together is when we get to the Victor Timely stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
Because they'll explain more as to what the imminent threat is. We kind of know vaguely, all right, they're coming, but like to do what they coming with? How will they attack us? We'll probably get a lot of that stuff with Victor Timely.
For sure. I also failed to mention that when Loki was in the war room, obviously Kang was talking to Ravonna Renslayer, basically being happy that she's down with the team.
So, yeah, girl, you my bottom bitch. I'm going to keep you real good. You just listen to daddy.
So that
basically
will probably come up at some point.
So yeah, that's why Renslayer been acting and she don't really give a shit that the people was fake, because she been knew that and she know who she actually serving. Yep. I think old girl, the redhead, probably know too. Could be. And that's why she's so like, well, fuck it, I don't care. Because like if you found out somebody kidnapped you from your real life, anybody's gonna. I mean, shit. Most of the agents were still mad about that, even though she wanted to go fight and find Sylvie. Yeah. Which leads me to believe that she probably knows more than what she's leading on.
I would agree. Any other thoughts about Loki episode 1?
It was a solid season 1 or episode 1. I thought the first 15 to 20 minutes of it were pretty repetitive.
Sure.
And I didn't really understand where we were going. I remember vividly pausing it to get on to Chill's stream, and nothing had happened yet. Like we had just kept doing, you mean it's him? You mean all this is fake? Yeah, we found it out last season, fam. We don't need to take this long to do that.
Facts.
The
time slipping just kind of took away from it for a little bit, but I mean, it served its purpose.
But they fixed that, so now we can move on from that shit. Yeah. We don't have to worry about that bleeding into the entire season like Moon Knight.
Facts.
We won't be time slipping every 5 seconds or time jumping or whatever. So
thank goodness.
Yeah, no, solid episode 1. See what happens in episode 2.
Agreed.
Give us your thoughts on episode 1 of Loki season 2. Put it in the prompt below. Come back every week. We will be doing reviews until the end of the season.
Absolutely. And we've also reviewed Loki season 1, so make sure you check out our playlist full of that. Plus, we've also done some reviews for some of the other Marvel videos or Marvel Disney Plus series. Things like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Secret Invasion. So make sure you check out some of that.